Manny, you said Quigg broke something as well from what you heard?
I understand. I heard in the ring after the fight that he broke his nose. So I don't know how.
Look at his nose.
Yeah. Clearly.
Oh, I mean, the guy's a warrior, man.
No, I don't think he went to the hospital. Oscar went to the hospital.
That's what I heard. I mean, I don't know.
They said he outweighed Oscar by 7 pounds on the broadcast. Is that much or more?
Because Oscar's the type of fighter that doesn't gain.
135 to 142.
Yeah, Oscar doesn't.
135.6 for Valdez, 142.2 for Quigg.
Oscar's
so one gain 9.
1 weight class difference.
Are you looking for Valdez to maybe have a little bit softer touch next time out? You said.
You know what? I'm no one to decide on that. I'm no one to say that. We leave that up to the promoter, Top Rank, of course, and his manager. I'm the coach, you know, but I leave that up to them. Whatever they decide they want to do, and you know, whichever direction they want to take is, you know, I'm his coach, and I'm here to do as I'm told.
Manny, you're saying you wish the fight hadn't gone ahead, but surely your man's stock has risen incredibly after that contest.
Correct. I mean, it should. It should. I mean, it goes.
It's
to
the fight
show
of the
you,
year, isn't it?
It goes to probably again.
Yeah.
It should. I mean, Oscar's a warrior again, man. I'm very proud of Oscar. He has no quit in him. You guys have no idea how hard this kid works, and how much he wants to please his people, his fans, his Mexican heritage, if you will, and he just wants to go down as one of the best fighters in the featherweight division, particularly because he has no problem making 126. And if you ask Oscar, he's willing to fight any of the world champions.
Could we see him come to the UK?
You know what? I personally, someone asked me earlier what fight would I like to see for Oscar. I like to see him fight Carl Frampton.
He's been in three. Manny, he's been in 3 straight wars.
Yes.
How much longer can he continue to fight?
Well, you know what? Again, of course, what happens when the public sees him fight lesser of a fighter? Oh, he's fighting a bum. Oh, look, he's fighting nobodies. I mean, you know, Oscar wants to fight the best, and he really takes it to heart as far as the way people feel about him and how the public feels about him, the way they. So, you know, he wants to please the fans. He wants to please his people. Yes, and but yeah, definitely. I mean, I would like to see him fight. You know, maybe get a tuna fight, and then obviously. But like I said, I don't decide that. I don't decide that. Again, we leave that up to his promoter and his manager.
Manny, as a coach and as a person personally working with him since his brilliant career, does this type of performance surprise you, or do you think like, wow, he put on another great performance again? Like,
you know what, Oscar, he listened in the corner. If you notice, there were rounds where he didn't sit there and bang. I mean, he actually boxed. He actually stick and move, beat him to the punch, stepped under, good lateral movement. There was a lot of good things Oscar did as far as boxing is concerned, correct? But then again, you know, I mean, he'll sit in the pocket and he'll go to the body and he'll bang with the fighter but just understanding that you have to be able to, as a coach, dictate the situation. Yes, fight. In other words, he's got to be the one dictating the tempo in the ring as far as when to fight, when not to fight, when to box. And it was evident. I mean, he made Scott Quigg miss a lot. But again, Scott Quigg, man, he's a warrior. Come on, and if anybody hasn't seen Scott Quigg fight before, he's gonna be on your ass from round number 1 to round number 12. So he's been in lots of wars, and he's used to this. So it doesn't surprise me that Scott fought this way.
Manny, what was going through your mind in the 5th round when it looked like Quigg had Valdez momentarily hurt? And do you think that moment happens without the weight advantage?
You know what? Maybe, because that's a lot of weight that you're carrying. Come on, it's just. I mean, again, when Oscar caught the guy, he stuttered Scott, but momentarily, and he came right back at him. And he caught him several times with, you know, to the head, to the body, and he took his punches very well, better than anyone else ever has. You know, I was asked this question: do you think Freddie, you know, and Scott Quigg's team did this on purpose? Do you think that it was deliberate, that they didn't make weight? Well, I don't know. I mean, who wants to give up 20% of their purse and not fight for a world title, right? I doubt that very much. What were the reasons why Scott Quigg didn't make weight?
Well, he explained, didn't he, that he fractured his foot a month ago.
I don't know. You're telling me.
He told us afterwards.
I mean, if he had a fractured foot, I don't think he.
He did all right for a fractured foot, though, didn't he?
He did very well for a fractured foot. I mean, I don't know if I can believe that or not. Really.
That's what he told us.
He was interested. To hope to build him into a top
he's made weight for 11
prize
years.
fighting featherweight like Morales and Barrera.
He has a point
top
as well.
prize fighter, but do you think he's approaching or at the level that those guys were at in terms of?
Oh man, we got some big shoes to fill, man. And we got to stay grounded, man. We got to stay humble, man. And we leave that up to the public, up to the media, and you guys decide if he's there or not. We just got to keep working. We got to keep pushing forward.
Did you find it suspicious or dubious they wouldn't do a second day weigh-in?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Why wasn't that enforced?
Are you kidding me? I have no idea. I don't have anything to do with that. I mean,
Todd,
but I wish I knew.
do you know why the second day weigh-in wasn't enforced?
Enforced. There is no. The IBF is the only organization that officially does the second day.
Right, but a lot of times when a fighter doesn't make weight, it is actually protocol to say, wait, let's try to work something out to make it fair. I think there was a legitimate reason why Quigg didn't make weight. But I've seen a lot of fights where they say, okay, if you don't make weight, you do a second day weigh-in.
Well, listen, I think that the agreement that they had, obviously they asked for a second day weigh-in. Quigg refused to do that, and I think rather than sit here and say, point fingers at people, I think you give credit to the people that could jump in the ring and to Oscar and his team that say, listen, we're going to give this guy, we're going to take him on. He wants to cut some corners and have an unfair advantage, if that's what you want to say. We want to fight. And, you tip your hat to the guys that take credit and, put all the BS aside and go to be a fighter. So I can't answer that for you.
How much did this fight? How much did this fight going down have to do with Oscar wanting it? Did you guys try and talk him out of it, and it was him at the end of it, or how'd that go about?
You know what? Again, this decision was made by his manager, his father, Oscar. But at the end of the day, it was Oscar's.
I mean, I think when you talk about Oscar Valdez, I mean, listen, we all see fighters, right? We all see fighters, right? And we get emotionally involved, and Manny's next to him and everything. And as much as he tells Oscar, don't stay in the pocket, the kid loves to stay in the pocket. So it's in his DNA. He wants to be a fighter. So anybody telling him something that you think is the rational thing to do, which is make him have a second day weigh-in or not take the fight or whatever it is, it's the same deaf ears that he gets when he says, don't pull straight back, don't go to the ropes, don't do those things. He's a warrior.
Oscar has been in, plenty of wars these last few fights with Cervania, and then the one before that. You as a trainer, what would you recommend? Would you pretty much rest him for the rest of the year? We'll wait and see
what type of result we receive from the doctors. But styles make fights, man. Styles make fights. If you put Oscar in with Marriaga, you're gonna get fireworks. With Hennessy Cervania, studying the tape, you're gonna get fireworks.
You put him in with me, he'll put on fireworks.
And then again with Scott Quigg, you could put him in with Scott Quigg. Come on, it was a given. I knew you were gonna get fireworks. I don't think anybody was wrong about the fight. Scott Quigg is a warrior. He comes forward and he comes to fight. Now, on the other hand, Oscar, I think Oscar he proved that he's a more complete fighter. He proved that he can bang, he can box, he can make you miss, he can make you pay. I think he did a lot of good, positive things tonight. Considering the fight.
What Manny's saying is you can see, which is wonderful, when you see a young kid mature over the body of work. And we saw in the Marriaga fight where he was still young, and then you saw in where he was learning some stuff, and all that fight and the Cervania fight made him be able to conquer what he had to do tonight. If he didn't have those fights, he probably couldn't have conquered what he did.
I was just about to tell you that. I was just about to mention that right now. If Oscar doesn't have the Marriaga fight and the Cervania fight, maybe Oscar wouldn't have gone past 6, 7, 8 rounds.
Right.
But it was due to those fights that Oscar was able to go 12 rounds the way he did today. These type of, sometimes, everybody likes to see knockouts. But what Oscar has to understand prior to these last 3 fights, Oscar was used to knocking everybody out. Oscar, you're not gonna knock everybody out, Oscar. You gotta learn to go around. So it's so valuable to go, you know, to go into deep waters and go 12 rounds, because at the end of the day, that's what those fights, that's what they got us here. If it wasn't, thank you. If it wasn't for those fights, as a promoter, I gotta thank him, because if it wasn't for those fights, Oscar doesn't go the 12 rounds the way he did tonight.
And also to see, you know, the last 3 rounds where he comes on, right? That's the maturity, right? You know, a lot of times you see the young kids fade at the end, but he started coming on in the last 3 rounds and, you know, went through adversity.
On that point, Manny, maybe did you tell him to come out and win the 9th because he came out hard in the 9th? He came back very hard in the 9th.
Yes,
it was like you told him.
Yeah, those are the championship rounds.
You win that round, you won the fight. You almost told him.
Those are the championship rounds. You know, going into the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th round. We all understand those are the championship rounds. Those are, you know, that's when you show what you're made of. You know, and it's a given.
Yeah. This, you guys have hosted plenty of cards here. Where does this rank at? You know?
The wettest. I mean, listen. I mean, you know, there's something about this building. You know, there really is something about the building. You know, as somebody that puts on events and wants to, you know, give the fight fans great events, you also want environmentally to be terrific. And all week I'm sitting on my phone looking at this weather and I'm like, come on, be wrong for once, right? I mean, why does it say 100% chance of rain on Saturday, right? So I think the memory of this is, it was a pretty unique environment. It was pretty unique to see to feel the rain coming down, to see it, and to see everybody in ponchos in the crowd. You know, it was kind of special. And once again, you had a great show. And, you know, our matchmakers put on a terrific show. And every guy knows, every fighter knows when he walks through that tunnel, this building, for some reason, if it's, you know, Bradley and Provodnikov or Alvarado and Rios, the walls are special here. And these kids give it, and, you know, it was great. Like I said to, you know, I get a text from, you know, from Matthew Macklin, who's calling it for Scott. I get a text from him, and he says, I look forward to the fight, and I said, well, it's going to be like a pitch, not a ring. That's what it felt like out there.
Where do you think Oscar Valdez ranks among the best action fighters in the sport?
That's your guys' job, not mine. I mean, that's really, I mean, I don't even think of that. No, I don't. Just listen. You know, Eddie's in the same position I am, right? Our job is to put on great matches that can permeate all the public, right? So that they want to come back and get more. Doesn't matter if it's the UK fans, or the US fans, or the Mexico fans. We have a wonderful global sport. So when we can move the needle and give people goosebumps because they saw something special, it's fantastic. So those guys that give that grit and those types of gritty performances makes you want to see them again. That's what makes boxing so terrific.
Question?
He's in the change room. He's fine.
His nose is broken, right?
Yeah, just
he's not going to go get checked out of the hospital.
No, the doctors signed him off.
They just pushed it to the side.
Yeah, they'll have to reset the nose. So,
but it is definitely broken though.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What's the injury with the foot?
Listen, it just in camp he had a bit of a problem with his foot. But
what is the problem?
I don't know. Maybe a stress fracture. But it was maybe a stress fracture, but it was nothing that was going to keep him out of the fight. He had to adapt his training. That was all.
At least it wasn't a toe.
No, it wasn't a toe. But,
totally.
You like that?
Was it a stress fracture?
Yeah, stress fracture.
Which foot?
Right foot.
Right foot stress fracture. So is that why? Would you attribute that to the weight loss?
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't do certain things for a small period. He could still train. He could still spar. It wasn't that it was going to keep him out of the fight, but he just had to adapt. But there is no one more professional than Scott Quigg at making weight, at training, at everything. And it devastated him that he couldn't make the weight because he got so much criticism back home. Because British fans are a little bit like that. They love to jump on you when you've done something wrong. And I just hope tonight they watch that performance and give him the respect that he deserves, because he apologised for not making the weight. It was very unprofessional and it was very out of character for Scott Quigg. But he backed it up with a performance that he went above and beyond the call of duty.
Eddie,
Yeah.
that said, why didn't he do a second day weigh-in to even out the score? Because a lot of times when a guy doesn't make weight, they say, you know what, all right, because there may have been a legitimate reason. But I've also seen other situations where you do a morning of weigh-in to balance the scales. Like your guy was a welterweight tonight. Is that really a fair fight?
No, well, it wasn't a welterweight.
Light welterweight.
Because
142.2.
no, you don't have a welterweight tonight. There's no one in a weight class that's the same weight tonight. That's ridiculous.
But your guy was 142.
Yeah, but he weighs 140 every time he fights. So he was £2 over.
Is that when he makes weight? Because one
Yeah,
guy
of course it is.
So you're saying that you think that Oscar Valdez had an easier time with what he had to do, stretching himself out the last couple of pounds of the toughest.
Yeah, hold on, Steve. Our boy had to go for a camp with a stress fracture in his foot trying to make weight. He was in a terrible physical condition on the scale trying to make weight. Trust me, it was no benefit to him having that camp that he had and stripping himself down to try and make weight yesterday.
So
Trust
Eddie,
me.
you'll be consistent. The next time one of your fighters has a guy that doesn't make weight, you'll say, you know what, we don't need to have a morning of weight.
Not at all.
Just take
Every situation is different. And my job is...
yeah, your situation. Sure, because here's the thing. The guy has a broken jaw. It was a rough fight. I congratulate both guys. I like Scott. But I do think it's a little bit of an imbalance when one guy makes weight, right? One guy doesn't. Your guy didn't come close. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
So now when you weigh in again, if one guy has to kind of stretch himself to make the last couple of rounds.
you need to speak to the commission and maybe get some rules in place. The situation is, we were asked to weigh in on Saturday. Scott Quigg said, I'm not doing it.
Okay.
Okay.
Right, listen.
Do I think that's right or wrong? I don't think it was wrong of Top Rank or Valdez's team to request it. It's very normal to request a second day weigh-in in that instance. Scott Quigg said, you know what? I've had the worst camp going. I've stripped myself down to make this weight. To be honest with you, if the fight's off, the fight's off.
Right. Well, the last thing, I don't want to hijack this whole thing. So would you have had a problem
But
if
that's
the
too late.
Espinoza camp... Well, okay, you're right.
No, go on, I like this. I like
If
this.
Valdez would have said, you know what, okay, you don't want to do it, walked away. Would you have been okay with that? Would you have understood their reasoning if that was the decision?
Having known what they probably knew, I would have been very surprised if they walked away from the fight.
Okay, fair enough.
Having known the camp, because they knew the camp that Scott Quigg had, and they knew that he wasn't in the best shape he could possibly be, and they knew that he was struggling at the weight all night and all day yesterday. So it wasn't like, but just believe me on one thing, it wasn't like Scott Quigg woke up and said, oh, you know what, I'm not going to make the weight, I won't try, because I witnessed him try, and it wasn't pretty. So he's a very stubborn individual. I don't necessarily agree with him refusing a second day weigh-in, and I honestly believe that if he would have not been through what he went through in camp, he would have done the second day weigh-in. But it was a situation where he said, listen, I've had enough. I've done everything I can to be here and to try and make the weight, and I'm not going for it, trying to hold my weight and do it again.
Eddie, when did Scott break his nose?
I believe it was like the sixth round, sixth, seventh round, something like that. I mean, he had a great round in the fifth round where he hurt Valdez badly, and and then he got cut, and it set him back a little bit. But Valdez, I was hoping and praying and expecting Valdez to weaken down the stretch, but he didn't. And both guys showed unbelievable heart. It was a brilliant fight.
Eddie, why do you think Valdez was the superior fighter?
Well, so many different reasons. Footwork, footwork, jab, body shots were incredible. I said to Scott Quigg in there just now, how badly hurt were you to the body? And he said, once. I said, are you sure? Because that hurt me every time. Sitting there. Brilliant shot selection, great engine. He boxed off the back foot for most of the fight, and again, moved so much in the fight. And to keep going at that rate with a broken jaw. I mean, don't forget, all right, Scott Quigg had a broken nose. Valdez had a broken jaw. And by the way, Scott Quigg broke his jaw against Carl Frampton in the third round, in their fight. So these guys, both guys aren't human. But I think Valdez showed that he's an excellent fighter. And how many times do you see Oscar Valdez in a bad fight? You don't.
Were you a little surprised that the one judge had it so, I mean, they were all kind of wide, but the 118...
10-2.
So is it 118, 110?
Yeah, 10-2.
I had it 116, 112, something like that. You had it 115, yeah, you had it 115, 113.
I had it 16, 12.
Yeah, but you're a controversial judge. I mean, I've never seen you have a good scorecard.
Boxing guy.
116, I mean, Scott knows he lost the fight.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, but I just, like 10-2 seemed a bit wide. That's
yeah, no, I gave Scott 4 rounds, maybe 5 rounds.
And so So with him being able to withstand those body shots and everything, like Steve was saying, do you think that the weight did help him?
Honestly, right, the weight is a load of bullshit. He was 2.5. We would have preferred that he was fit and healthy and made the weight well. Not,
He's gone now.
You know, and he's a bit heavier than he'd like to be in the ring tonight. It wasn't a plan. I read some rubbish. People saying, "Oh, do you think he's coming heavy deliberately?" The only reason we took this fight was to try and win a world title. And people say, "Oh, do you reckon he'd come in deliberately?" You're like, what would be the point of that? You don't want to come in heavy. He's never been heavy. He's a 122 pounder,
years.
moving to 126. He's not even a big featherweight. It was a disaster for him to be overweight, and he was too heavy tonight. But you know, no one has a perfect camp, despite what people say. Everybody has injuries in camp. I'm sure Valdez hasn't probably had niggles and injuries in his camp, but you go through it. They both did, and it was a fair fight, and the better man won.